Hey kids, you're listening to Nothing in Moderation with Travis and Mike. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on this regularly scheduled dumpster fire.
You can catch us on all the social medias under @NothingInModPod. So let's go ahead and get this hillbilly hog fight underway.
So yeah, right before we clicked record, I think I swallowed a filling. I'm not sure yet. I guess we'll find out shortly.
Were you eating, or did you just eat a lollipop and you were sucking and it popped out, or the fuck's the conditions?
No, I was eating. I make a little trail mix. I like to say I was eating nuts. So,
These nuts.
So we can cut that out later.
But so
and
you were saying,
started wiggling my tongue around my mouth, and I was like, "Hey, something doesn't feel right here." Well, missing tooth pieces. There's a hole back. There's a hole in there, and there didn't used to be.
That I would say that's a pretty clear indicator, or as we used to call in law enforcement, a clue that something's not right.
A regular old fucking Carmen Sandiego over here.
Where'd she go?
I think she's in Paris or some shit. I don't know.
Right. I don't have many fillings, but I did lose one once while chewing gum. And the gum pulled it out of my tooth, and unbeknownst to me that it had come out, I chomped back down on my gum and smashed the filling to pieces in the gum. So then the cum was all full of filling powder.
Oh God, I'm cutting that out. I'm writing that the fuck down right now. Man. 1 minute, 29 seconds.
My chewing gum was then full of filling dust, and there was a hole in my tooth that was not ideal.
Well, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at now. I have filling dust swirling around in my mouth. Unfortunately, I didn't get to catch my filling up in gum. My filling got caught up in nuts. Yours got caught up in gum.
I'm seeing a theme.
There's a theme. So, you know the difference between you and your gum?
No.
Your gum pulls out.
Oh, damn it. You're not wrong.
All right. So,
welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to Nothing in Moderation. My name is Mike. I'm here with my bestest buddy, Travis.
Your name is Mike himself, not Mike.
Oh, see, you keep trying to push this Mike himself thing, and
I did.
It's not catching on. I don't think it's catching on.
Everybody knows you as Mike himself.
Nobody besides you calls me Mike himself.
That's because I'm starting a revolution.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Well, I'll let you know.
It's not a war on Mike. It's a revolution.
All right. I mean, tomato. Dictator, president, whatever.
Oh man, tater tot,
dictator. That'd be a funny shaped tater.
But I saw an actual picture where someone had some weird carrot that looked like two legs with a little wiener between them, and somebody photoshopped the carrot as the president's legs.
I'm pretty sure you posted that in one of the group chats. Yeah, I laughed. I laughed uncontrollably.
All my group chats are effectively just meme sharing. It's what the world has gotten to.
Yeah, you're the reason that I have a group chat on my phone that is literally like 3 gigabytes of my storage.
Yeah, I'm good for something sometimes. Not today. You even pointed out today I have not shared a single meme. You checked to see if I was alive.
I did. I was concerned. I was like, I haven't gotten any memes from him at all today. Not even any shitty news stories. Nothing. I didn't get anything. No communication. I was like, damn.
Either I went swimming out back or I was busy at work.
I figured it was the swimming because you don't really do a whole lot otherwise.
Yeah, I mean there's some downtime, but today was quite busy. It was a profitable day.
I feel you. I had a fairly shitty day myself, and then I had a doctor's appointment at 2. So I don't want to say doctor, a chiropractor's appointment because they're technically doctors, but
careful.
It's mostly
one of our
sorcery.
Listeners is a chiropractor.
It's mostly sorcery, but it's sorcery that it brings me relief, so I'm not mad at it. But I go, I go monthly. But
you get adjusted.
Yeah. So I go, because my appointment was at 2 in the afternoon, I couldn't really take a lunch because, my lunch break's got to be used for the doctor's appointment because, I need my monies. I need all my coins. And I was going to get up super early this morning and go to the gym, and my alarm went off, and I said, fuck that, like 4 times. So I didn't get to go to the gym or, have my normal lunch break gym session. So I'm all, and then work was busy as fuck all day. So I'm just like, God, can this day be over yet?
It'd have been so much more ironic had you gone to the dentist at 2 and then lost a filling at 5.
I would have been mad. Oh, this filling's not that old, but this is what happens when you go to those half-assed cutthroat dentists, like the Aspen Dentals or the Greenbergs. They do shitty work.
I haven't been to the dentist since that filling came out, and they refilled my tooth with no Novocaine.
Oof, I'd fucking nope.
Yeah, they're like, we got to drill a little bit more, and I'm like, that hurts fucking terrible, right? No, you're okay.
Did I share the picture with you that popped up in my memories the other day from when I got my wisdom teeth taken out?
You didn't, but that sounds like something that should be on Now a Moment, a walk down memory lane with Mike himself.
There's nothing to read because it's just a selfie that I took of me, and it's absolutely fucking terrible because I am stoned off my ass from being put under for the hour or so that it took them to get all 4 of my wisdom teeth out. And I will post the picture on social media with the audio clip that we do for promotion this week. We'll just use this section. I'll find a section of this to use for it. Because it makes me fucking belly laugh every time. And like the only thing I remember from that whole day was flirting with the nurse on the way out. Cause I was like, you got my number, call me. Like I remember doing that. And I remember the guy that drove me home letting me fucking stop at Walgreens to get gauze because I didn't have any, and him letting me wander around in Walgreens by myself, which was a fucking terrible idea. And then as we drove past one of the strip clubs in Orlando, I used my powers on social media to check my mom and I in at the strip club.
I feel like I remember this happening.
Yeah, I feel like I've told you the story at least.
Was this the strip club that used to be shaped like a pair of boobs? The one that was right there on Lee Road?
No. That's
okay.
No. This was the one Dancers Royale over on Colonial.
The one Brad always checks into?
Correct. Yes. The one Brad. Nice. The one where Jessica Barton and her sister worked at one point or another. So, but yeah. So I checked my mom in at Dancers. I fucking wandered around fucking Walgreens by myself, and then took this super awesome selfie that I will definitely be posting on social media today. So
good deal.
Yeah, it's good times.
I remember one time when my mother first got on the book face that I had posted something about, and I'm sure you were involved, but that I was headed up to one of the strip clubs in DeLand or whatever it was, and I was going with my buddies. If anybody wants to go, my mom's like, well, that's nice. Trying to like guilt me about it. I'm like, Mom, are you coming? You can go too.
I don't remember that, but that's fucking funny.
Yeah.
Also some shit you would do.
And then my sister, she has on a couple occasions written me a message and been like, hey, do you ever think about the fact that Mom or Uncle Bob can see what you post?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Think about it all the time. Fuck
it is what it is.
Sorry, I'm just kidding, Mom. Don't mean that.
No, it's not fuck them. It's just,
yeah.
I'm a grown, shut that goddamn dog up. I'm a grown-ass man. If they can't accept that I like to see booty hole, there's something wrong with them.
What strip club are you going to that they're showing booty hole at?
Whichever one you walk in with a $100 bill at.
Oh, all right. $100 is $100, I guess. All right. Well, now
you have enough hundreds, and you can show them your booty hole.
That's true. Fucking. I'm gonna leave in that real awkwardness right there. That was cool.
That way you know where to clip it.
Yeah. So back to the beginning of where we started before we ran off on this tangent about dentists and strip clubs. This is Nothing in Moderation. You can check us out on all of our social media at Nothing in Mod Pod, or send us an email, nothinginmoderationpod@gmail.com. We also have stickers and magnets available. I'm going to scold you here in a second for not sending your sister her stickers.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
I still can't get stamps. Apparently the post office is so slow they won't even deliver stamps at this point.
Well, that makes sense.
The auto routing machines don't route auto.
Your sister's going to get stickers. I'll send them out. So I think I'll do those as soon as we finish recording. I'll write up those envelopes.
You going to get her a couple of the old and a couple of the new?
Yeah. I'm probably going to send her and Clayton each one of the hologram, the old LE hologram ones, the limited edition ones, since they had to wait so long, and they're awesome like they are. It's also really cool when I pull up like our statistics or whatever. None of that is cool except for the fact that it shows you the map of where your downloads come from.
We got
like
some
it's
in
all
Japan.
it's all super depressing, and then on the map, like you see this little speck in Japan, and I'm like, we're international.
Yay!
So I know we got a couple suggestions for the Hard to Swallow for our 50th episode, which we are going to record next week.
I haven't seen those, by the way. So you can either share them or you can surprise me.
What do you mean you haven't seen them? You unless you
What?
they were posted on Instagram. How did you not see them?
Because I since you started taking over the posting
God.
on Instagram, I haven't gone onto it.
Fuck my life. That's not how this is supposed to work.
Oh, okay. My bad.
It's cool. I kind of want to ixnay the first one immediately. I know I can't. We'll probably have to figure out how to get the stuff for that one. But one of the first ones we got was fucking squid. And I'm like,
Oh, I did see that one.
yeah,
That
I know you commented on that one. So I don't know how I feel about that. We'll have to venture down that road and see what
I'm
we
good
can come
with
up
it.
with. So
I mean, I thought it was funny the idea of the squid trying to climb its way back out.
probably. It's shit's, I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about squid, but that's the point of the segment. Push me out of my comfort zone.
Chris did send me a couple of different beers to look for, so I'm going to hit Total Wine and More this weekend to try and get some stuff for it.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'm down
He,
to try
he
a
also
couple
gave
beers.
us some topics for us to cover if we get bored, because we asked for topics a couple weeks ago.
We asked for topics again today.
Oh man,
So-
then I mean Chris just sent us topics today.
Good cover up. I'll cut that out. And by cut that out, I mean I'm leaving it in.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so if you guys do have any suggestions, and I'll post a couple more times on social media, between here and there, looking for suggestions, but also reminding you, because we are going to, at the very least, we are going to live stream the Hard to Swallow segment on social media. I'm working out the fucking details of that and finding out that I probably don't have the correct equipment.
Oh man.
Take that however you will for that to be as successful as I want it to be, but we'll see.
Just for clarity, because I got told I explained it wrong. Are we live streaming as in not the morning that the podcast release, or are we doing a recording and releasing the recording at the same time we release the podcast?
I fully intend on whatever day we record, live streaming as we literally live as we do the Hard to Swallow segment at the very least.
So actually live streaming.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we'll still put out the podcast in its entirety on Thursday like normal.
10 forward. So that, just so anybody who's listening is interested, we both work until at least 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so it would be an evening live stream.
Yeah.
So you may have to cancel your dinner.
May have to, and we can do it off air, but I will be out of town for work a couple of days next week, so we have to work out what day we're actually going to do it.
Oh man, me too.
So yeah, well there you go. So we'll work out the details off air though. So
Yeah. No sense in going over that here.
no, well I mean we could. What the fuck?
But anyway,
yeah. So definitely send us some suggestions if you got them. We're open to pretty much anything. That's anything better than squid. It's gonna be kind of hard to beat squid. So
I've got some stuff that I'm bringing food wise that we did a spicy peanut on the first episode. I don't know that you're going to want to go that hard on it.
Nope.
I've got something less spicy that's still an interesting thing to try that you probably have never had.
Okay.
And I picked up some stuff that people would have a natural aversion to.
Okay.
So we'll try those things. And I tried not to make things meat specific because I know you're not eating the meats for the most part.
Yeah.
But aside from that, I think it'll be really funny, especially trying to suffer through it and explain our thought process on it.
Yeah, definitely. I'm actually looking forward to it. So, what the fuck?
I saw in the social medias that there was the post about koozies. Did we talk about that last episode?
We did not, mainly because I just got the stuff within the last couple of days to even consider starting to make them. So
We're considering making koozies.
yeah, well, so here's I purchased a silhouette or a cameo. So it's like the Cricut. It's basically a craft plotter. You can do more than make stickers with it. Like it does. They have different blades to do all sorts of shit on them. I specifically bought it for making like stickers, T-shirts, koozies, stuff like that. I still have to get the hang of it and figure out how to use it. I bought some like super basic supplies to learn how to like make decals and stickers and shit, and realized that our logo is very difficult because of everything that's going on. It's very difficult to cut into a sticker. So I got to have our Babin, the guy that drew it for us, kind of move some stuff around and streamline it. So before I can really do anything.
But if you guys and gals are interested in koozies, because I know koozies are things we can use, whether it's soda or beer, excuse me, or anything. If you're interested, let us know, because if Mike's making them, it's funny to make him work. But if we actually have enough interest, we can buy them in bulk and have them to give out to people. I know he and I had the conversation off air about cost offset and stuff like that. So
yeah. So and honestly, like I think a 10-pack of the White Claw sized koozies, which would, I think in 2020 would be the most popular size of koozie to give away, because they fit the Truly cans or whatever, and I think that style of can is most popular. I think that would probably be, a pack of 10 of those is like $11.
Well, no, I wasn't worried about that portion. It was just you and I had talked, and I was like, well, how much is it if we buy them in bulk and we do this and we do that?
Yeah, they're, if we buy 500 of them, there's, they're 30 something cents a piece. But what do we do with 450 extra koozies?
Right. Considering we lost 30 and gave 20 away.
Yeah, pretty much. So
I think the sales pitch or the product pitch writes itself. If you're doing the quote unquote White Claw sized koozies, you just pitch it as how to keep cool when there ain't no laws. Or you just roll on that whole concept. And I mean, that's just an off the cuff thing. We can find a better word crafted version. But
you sure you're not a fucking marketing major over there, buddy?
I done thought about it once.
Fuck, man. You got all the fucking plots and ideas and shit.
Yeah, it's just avoiding using trademarked shit.
Yeah, well, fuck them. I know how to.
Go ahead and sue us for all that we're worth and get our name out there.
Bitch. Yeah, go ahead and sue me for $12.38.
Nailed it. Go ahead. Can I pay in koozies?
Yeah, for real. Do you take koozies? Oh, fuck.
Shroot bucks.
Do what?
You're not really an Office watching person, but
no, Root Bucks though. I get it. I watched.
Yeah, well, Shroot was one of the Dwight Schrute was one of the characters, and Shroot Bucks, and then there was a whole exchange about Stanley dollars or something of the sorts, and what's the exchange rate, and I'm just engaging my nerdness.
Okay, well, I mean, if you wanna stick to the nerdness thing, we can go ahead and talk about this. Some of these new things Apple's got going on.
Nerd alert!
Nerd alert! Wee. That was ridiculous. I like it. I'm sure you didn't watch it, so I know the answer to this question. But did you watch the Apple event that was on the other day?
I did not.
Okay, cool. So I watched it because I was hoping for a new iPhone. I knew shortly before that I wasn't going to get one, but I decided to still watch it anyway because I just plopped it on in the background while I was working.
But don't they do a new iPhone every year, or has that changed?
They do,
since?
And they typically announce it in September, release it in October.
Okay.
But there's been delays with supplying and stuff like that from coronavirus.
And outrage about slave labor in concentration camps in the northwest portion with the Uyghur people in China.
Does that have to do with Apple?
Yeah, there's at least some mullings that Apple utilizes labor from that region from those people.
Oh, that's wild.
So, I mean, I'm not trying to downplay the significance of that, but most companies that utilize the Chinese labor, if it's not done within a certain district in China where the majority of manufacturing is done, it's outsourced to those areas, and they utilize not just like pennies on the dollar sweatshop labor, but legitimate, you're in prison and you're going to work, and slave labor.
Yeah, all that bullshittery. That sucks. I hadn't heard that Apple was specifically accused of using labor from those regions, but it does not surprise me. It seems like some shit they would do in most any other major corporation for that matter. So they're not all cut from the same cloth, I guess. You make this hard to transition, you son of a bitch.
Nerd alert.
Yeah. Retake. No, just kidding. So they did the hardware. They did a new Apple Watch, the Apple Watch 6. They released a new iPad and a new iPad Air. They did the iPad Pro earlier this year. And none of that really matters too much. Like the new iPad Air is pretty cool. They did like the new chip that's in the iPad Air. Like it allows you to use the forward-facing camera. Like one of the things they demoed was like one of the DJ apps where it's like 2 turntables and like a little mixer in the middle. And there was a little box at the top of it where the camera would look at how your hands were placed, and you could literally wave your hands over the top of the mixer and scratch.
Okay.
And it would, the camera would know where you were trying to touch, in relation. So that's cool, but like this shit doesn't really matter. The big thing that they announced that really pissed a lot of people off, and by a lot of people I mean people like Spotify, was they announced Apple One, which is a service where they combine all of their, or not all of, or some of their different services: music, TV, arcade, news, iCloud, into a package deal for what one or two of the services would probably cost you. So
just real quick, and I hate to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
You included Apple TV.
Yes. So
meaning if I pay for Apple Care and that's a bundled item, and I pay for iCloud and I want Apple TV, but I can't justify the, what is it, $10-$20 a month, something like that. Mm-hmm. This package may only be a couple dollar increase over what I'm already paying for services I do want.
Yeah. So here's what it breaks down to if it's just for you, for $14.95 a month, you get Apple Music, Apple TV, Apple Arcade, and 50 gigabytes of iCloud. Music is like $10. I think TV is $10, and Arcade is $10. So those services alone are $30. I think 50 gigs of iCloud is only like $3. I think because that's what I have, or maybe I just upgraded to 200. I don't remember. For another $5 a month, you can share those services with up to 5 people. So for $20 a month, 6 of you have access to music. Everybody can use TV. Everybody can use Arcade, and you get 200 gigabytes of iCloud. And like companies like Spotify are fucking losing their mind.
Well, because Spotify gets how much per subscriber?
Jen and I pay $13 a month for a quote-unquote duo plan, which is 2 people. It's $10 a month, just like music is, for just a single person, and then $15 a month for an actual family plan. So for the same money that you pay Apple, or that you pay Spotify just for music, for that same money as a family, or for $5 more, you get TV, Arcade, and 200 gigabytes of iCloud storage. So, but they're freaking out because Apple's like, oh, they're using their place and their size to price everybody out of the market. Well, they're right, because I'm actually considering moving off of Spotify and back to Apple Music. Because Spotify doesn't, like, the things that I would use Spotify for exclusively, to occasionally listen to Rogan, which I don't do all the time. I literally, like, he did another episode with Snowden, so I will probably listen to that.
Right.
But for the most part, I don't listen to Rogan. The only other podcast I listen to that is exclusive to Spotify is Joe Budden, and Saturday is their last exclusive episode. So I don't need it for that. But they also include all of that shit in the free version of their app.
Well, I mean, it's a way to lure you in. It's a good giveaway because it earns its money back in advertising dollars.
Absolutely. Well, and I don't really know how, because I pay for Spotify, and I guess that's how because on the free version there's ads, but part of Joe Budden's contract and I know you and I've talked about it off the show, but his contract being up, he's revealed a lot that was in it, and like one of the things that he has in his contract is that they can't put ads in, like just random dynamic ads. Like they can't put them in any new episodes, any episodes he released while he was exclusive to Spotify, or any episodes that from previous to that. They just can't. They can't add them at all. So like I don't know where they're going to make any money off of that. For advertising purposes. I'm sure I don't know that Rogan has the same thing or not. Rogan's got fucking 7 minutes worth of advertisements at the front of every episode anyway.
And obviously we're not privy to the contract, but he could have those advertisements pay to him, and Spotify does whatever they want, or from there on. Yeah,
and then there's no telling, but so I think it's I think it's a great deal for anybody that uses Apple, that's in the ecosystem like I am. I'm Apple everything. Although this trying to figure out how to live stream and record has really got me thinking that maybe I don't have the right laptop for all of this, and I might need to get a Windows-based system just for cost versus performance. But that's a whole nother fucking story. But yeah, so I don't know. Like I think it's I don't know. I think it's gonna help. It won't put Spotify out of business, but Spotify's gonna lose some of their dismal market share for sure. So I think it's the concept is cool. There are services that I already use anyway. So for the money I already pay Apple, I'm literally getting extra stuff for free.
Right, and I think that makes sense. And we talked about it before that I don't use any of those services other than iCloud, and the wife's on that. But when you talk about, well, we can bundle, fuck now, I could watch your Apple TV, and I could give you $5 a month or whatever it is, or we could, we could figure something out. And I know there's a lot of that shuffling. I was talking to Miller, and he uses the YouTube TVs, and he canceled his cable stuff. And hang on, he told me how much it was. And I'm like, dude, that's fucking terrible. Like, that's a lot of money. But he was telling me, he's like, oh, well, me and my buddy, we split. He's like, I pay for this and he pays for that. And we all log in and we share it. And I was like, well, I guess if the system doesn't care, then that's solid. And he was saying you can have, with the YouTube TV, you can have however many users that they allot you. It's like you and your wife and myself and Ashley could all be on it. Yeah. And have our own individual login so that what I'm watching doesn't throw suggestions at you or throw them at her or shit like that. And that they're okay with, 4, 5, 6, whatever the users are or something.
Yeah.
But
so, and that's the cool thing with the Apple One is we can all have access to music and our music doesn't overlap. But I will say, one of the cool things that Spotify does on this Duo plan, we have our own Spotify, Jen and I do, but they also create playlists based on what the two of you are listening to, and then create it as like a Duos playlist where you can listen to the shit that you both listen to the most. So it's actually really funny because like our Duo playlist, like one of the first songs is usually like Little Boosie or Gucci Mane, and then it rolls into like Fleetwood Mac or something else that Jen may be listening to. So it's cool in that manner, and I don't know that Apple does that, but the ability for us to share this with X amount of people and everybody not get bombarded with everybody else's shit is also super cool, and it's all in one. Like I don't know, simplicity is where it's at.
No, I get it, and you typically pay for simplicity, but they're taking the cable company mentality and bundling it and making it cheaper to bundle than it is to even get one service.
Oh yeah,
and it's funny because when cable came out, the whole idea of paying for cable was not having commercials, and that publicly aired television was paid for by commercial advertisement. But now it's become you pay us and we fucking inundate you with commercials and fuck you because we're not going to give you an option. Yeah,
pretty much. So and like the funny thing about that you bringing up YouTube TV is I was just talking to Destry about this. Every fucking time I watch a video on YouTube, they're like, oh, you want to start your trial? No, fuck you, YouTube. Leave me alone. I don't want to start my trial. I'm happy with Sling. Fuck you. And they don't listen. I know that like it's cool that YouTube does that, but I know Hulu, because that's who my mom has. She cut her cable and used Hulu's live service.
Right.
I cannot. As soon as I tried to log in to her Hulu, because I was going to check out Hulu to see if it was something I was interested in switching us over to, and it would not let me. Like it immediately said the IP address is wrong. Shit's fucky. No sir. Sorry about your luck.
That's kind of weird. We have it now bundled with Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And we never planned to be Disney Plus subscribers, but then looking through the Disney library, it's crazy how much stuff is actually Disney productions.
Oh, yeah. Well, because they just buy it all.
Well, no, but do you remember Flight of the Navigator as a kid? I know you were never really into movies.
Yeah, I remember it.
But, like, that's a Disney movie. The Princess Bride's a Disney movie. Not that I'm into that, but, like, there's a lot of shit that I'm like, oh, that's actually a Disney production. I didn't realize they did live action back then.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But with Disney Plus, who now owns Hulu, you're able to have multiple logins on the same account.
Well, didn't Fox own Hulu?
No. So
they did.
When Disney Plus had announced that Disney announced they were going to have a live streaming service, some time went by, and then all of a sudden Hulu got snatched up, and it's like, oh, we know what's going on. And then all of a sudden Hulu became Disney, because there's definitely properties that were on Hulu that were non-Fox properties. But there were also properties that Hulu had on it that belonged to Fox. But like you could find like NBC and CBS or ABC or whatever it is on Hulu as well until they started coming out with their own streaming services. But like you could find Saturday Night Live on Hulu as a for instance, and still can, I think. But that's not a Disney property, or it may be at this point.
It's NBC Universal, so.
Okay, so it's not a Disney property yet.
Yeah, no. It probably will be at some point. I'm sure Disney will own fucking everything before it's all said and done.
I'm sure you saw the meme at some point where it's like a projected timeline and Disney buys this and Disney buys that and becomes, it takes over the government and it's the rise of the machines and the people have to fight them and it's impressive. Yeah. The mouse has a lot of power.
I don't understand how if Disney owns everything, you end up with shows like Ouch My Balls, but, we'll see.
Was that a Disney show? I'm sure. Or is that the...
That's just the show he was watching in Idiocracy.
Oh.
Leave me alone.
I'm baiting.
Yeah, he was
How
watching
on earth
My
did
Balls.
I not get an Idiocracy reference?
I don't know. I'm sort of disappointed in you for not getting it.
I mean, I was just talking about President Camacho last night.
Yeah, I always make remarks to President. Actually, one of the jokes that I made, actually not jokes, one of the first 3 things that I plan to make with my new sticker silhouette maker thing, I plan to make some Poseidon for Biden stickers. I plan to make a yard sign that says either IDK not Trump though, or any functioning adult 2020. And then I also plan to make a Camacho for President 2020 yard sign as well.
I mean, the equivalent to Camacho for president is people saying The Rock would be a favorable presidential candidate, could potentially come in third.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't surprise me.
I mean, he is the people's champion.
He is. That is absolutely correct.
He could be the people's president.
He could be, but he probably won't be.
Well, we would just have outrage of people demanding his birth certificate to know if he's an American or not.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was born in Hawaii, and that's technically not in America, so...
I don't think he's old enough for that to be the case, but
I've got $100 that says if we ended up in that scenario where The Rock was running for president, someone would make the association that he's from Hawaii, that's not America because it's not in America.
Well, I mean, there's already been the assertion that people who are from Puerto Rico need to come back where they come from because they're not Americans, even though it's been true. Part of America longer than some states have.
Yeah.
There was obviously the assertion that Obama, wasn't qualified to be president because he wasn't American, and even the current POTUS
Kenya
demanded his birth certificate and offered a bounty on it and shit like that. And Kamala, because I don't know. Kamala.
Yep.
There's already been a push from certain people that, well, how do we even know that she's eligible to be president? How do we know she's American? Is she Asian? Is she black? Is she this? Yeah. Is she that? And it's like, well, I mean, not trying to go down that path, but I guess as white people, we assume someone who's white and is in the country is probably by default from the country. Someone who is not white and in the country may or may not be.
That is correct.
And I mean, it's a shitty assumption. It's the whole innocent until proven guilty thing, I guess. And I would imagine if somebody is running for president and one of the qualifications as per founding documents is to be a natural born citizen type deal, that it is in fact vetted before any political party allows them to take the lead. But maybe not. Maybe nobody gives a fuck until somebody questions it. Who knows?
There's a good possibility. So I don't know. Fucking that shit's weird to me.
I know the conspiracy conversation that I had just the other night. Not that the person was pushing it, they were just telling me this is a conspiracy they had heard, was if Biden wins the presidency, his intention is to just resign and turn it over to Kamala anyway.
Wait, what?
So Biden won the nomination.
Yeah, no. I get it.
And he picks Kamala to be his VP, but if he wins, he does a year or whatever it is and then turns the presidency over to her. And I was like, well, I don't know that that's true, and I don't know that that's false, if that's the intention. I was like, but no matter who wins, if the intention is to win and then install somebody who couldn't win because that's who you wanted to win, that's a really shitty thing to do from any perspective, no matter who you support.
Yeah.
But
I can think of shittier things that have been done in that house.
Yeah, but it's still just a complete undermining of the system.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I don't have any problem calling somebody out for doing something wrong, regardless of what fucking letters next to their name.
Yeah, no, not at all.
So
fuck them.
But
Fuck
so back
them
to the nerd report. Nerd alert.
That's all I got on the nerd alert. I think Apple's really just pissing off everybody in the industry, and I like it. So that's all I got.
When you brought up the nerd alert concept as potentially being a reoccurring segment, I thought science and you thought technology, and that's kind of fun.
Yeah, they're the same thing.
The big news in science and space and shit right now is there's been phosphine detected on Venus.
Venus.
So I tried to start reading into this, and I ended up way down a rabbit hole. But phosphine, generally speaking, is produced by organic life. So bacteria and shit like that. You find it at sewage plants, stuff like that. Or you can find, they believe it happens in Jupiter deep down towards the core, where the temperature is tens of thousands of degrees, and it's created in a unique environment that doesn't exist on Earth or Venus, stuff like that. So there's obviously the optimistic perspective that, oh my God, if there's evidence of phosphine on Venus, that must mean, or could mean, there's life of some sort on Venus, microbial typically.
Yeah.
But even if that's not the case, which I don't ever want to jump to that conclusion, the kind of cool part is, if that's not the case, that means that phosphine is being produced through some chemical process that we don't currently understand or know about. So it's new science to explore. So whether it's life or it's not, it's still exciting to have new science. To me.
I'd rather have weird science than new science.
Oh man, but are we going to have like Vanessa Angel weird science, or are we going to have like Kelly LeBrock weird science?
I don't know who either of those people are. That's my favorite part about making that reference.
Oh, so Kelly LeBrock's the one from the movies, from the actual movie. Vanessa Angel's the one who was in the TV show on USA.
Oh, okay. I still don't know who they are.
Oh, man.
I've never watched an episode of Weird Science in my life.
Oh.
I thought it was a song until you just told me it was a show. I thought it was a song.
Oh. It was a good show. It was a good movie.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. So to unnerd this up,
so before we transfer topics, I just want to cover the...
No, I'm not going to transfer topics. I'm staying on it. Go ahead.
The rabbit hole that I went down, apparently the Russian Space Agency has decided or declared that Venus is in fact a Russian planet. So they're trying to lay claim to it first.
I like it.
So there was the kind of excitement that there may be another space race like there was to go to the moon back in the 60s.
It's a hell of a drive.
It is. It'll take a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's going to smell terrible, kind of like Palaka.
Probably.
But as I continued further, somebody was explaining that the moon doesn't really have a purpose with the space race. We went there. We just showed superiority. Once we got there was no real concern. There's no reason to really go back. And I saw someone start pointing out the math. If we can get to the moon and we can start mining on the moon's materials, we can build solar panels on the moon. And they were like, if you can build solar panels 1 kilometer wide around the equator of the moon will produce as much electricity in one day as the United States or the world, I can't remember which one they said, consumes in an entire year. And then there was the whole lengthy discussion about, well, how do you utilize that? What do you do with it type stuff? And I was just like, man, that's a lot of fucking energy. That's like when the space shuttle drug a cable through the electromagnetic field of the Earth while it was in orbit and generated so much electricity they had to shed the cable.
Wow.
I know you probably weren't into all that shit, but as a physics nerd, that was super exciting to me when I started learning about that shit.
So I learned about this story because on TikTok, I follow a female NASA scientist who just finished writing a kids show for Netflix that is on Netflix now. And she, I literally saw this while I was scrolling on TikTok one day while I was pooping.
What's the scientist's name?
I don't remember. Hang on.
I only asked because there's a YouTuber that Ashley watches that works for NASA or JPL, but does a video series on YouTube where she explains fairly complex topics, and she's gone to CERN and stuff like that. And it's kind of fun because it's, just the way Neil deGrasse Tyson talked about as far as explaining a super complex topic to where anybody can understand it.
The show is Emily's Wonder Lab. And the lady's name is Emily something. I don't remember her last name. Emily Calandrelli.
Okay, I don't think that's the same person I'm thinking.
She's a space expert. I think she currently works at NASA. So, but I follow her on TikTok, and literally that's the only reason I even know about this. But I mean, listen, if we're learning about science, we're doing it two different ways, and we're learning the same thing. So I think we win today.
Yeah, I mean,
you went down a rabbit hole, and I scrolled through a video on TikTok that was probably sandwiched. it was most definitely sandwiched between some girl dancing to WAP and somebody else bitching about the president.
Okay, so the YouTube girl or female that I'm referencing, her real name is Diana, but she goes by Physics Girl on YouTube.
Okay,
so she's a fun watch if anybody is bored and looking for a new YouTube channel during the lockdown.
All right. Well, I have not watched PBS. I have not watched Emily's Wonder Lab, but she is a good follow on TikTok. So she does a lot of cool experiments and shit. So I've actually followed a couple of people on TikTok that are like, I follow her who does like space stuff. Neil deGrasse Tyson has a TikTok. He doesn't post on it a lot, but he does post on it every now and then. I followed a couple of chemistry teachers that do cool chemistry experiments and shit, on TikTok. So
right.
My TikTok isn't just chicks dancing to WAP and people.
It isn't
people
just
yelling
Canadian
at people
TikTok or black TikTok or poop TikTok.
Yeah, it's not just those things. Like I actually learn a little bit here and there on the TikToks. So I posted a couple extra videos this week on the TikToks for us. So
oh really?
Yeah. So
I mean, tell Ashley to check out the channel.
They each got 150 views.
Wow.
One of them got 2 comments. The first comment said first, because I guess that's the thing on TikTok is you want to be the first to comment on something, and I was just like, ugh, you're really setting the bar pretty low if you're commenting first on our TikTok. So,
well, they have 100% chance of getting the first comment.
That is correct. They were the first. They were the first comment ever, actually. So I might need to write that shit down in case we do get big at some point on TikTok and be like, oh, this motherfucker was the first comment ever.
First squared.
Yeah, there is nothing before him on this fucking TikTok.
Mark Rober is another fun YouTube channel. He does practical experiments and explains how he gets to them and shows you the design process, and he's super easy to listen to, and he's a former JPL and NASA
I think you've talked about him before.
Yeah, he was involved in the Mars rover, but he's done some really fun shit, and he explains all the science behind it in a super easy way to relate.
Does he have a character in The Martian? And I mean that in as serious of a way as I can possibly.
You mean
like the movie or the book? Movie. I actually, that was one of the few movies that I read the book before the movie, and the only reason I watched the movie was because I read the book. So, but I feel like that name is familiar from that too for some reason, but I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know. He's not an actor or anything. He's legitimately an engineer.
Well, but there were some engineers that were very specific, like had specific roles in the movie because things they did, made the program possible or whatever, according to the story.
Well, it's easier to have someone who's intimately knowledgeable on a topic explain it on camera than it is to teach someone who knows how to be on camera to be intimately knowledgeable on a topic.
Yeah. Oh, look at that shit. Fuck, you ready to get into fucking
treasure? All right, enough of that shit.
All right. So this week it's my turn to do the honors. I did my Googles on this one. I have a fairly good feeling that you're going to get this one pretty quickly. Some of the things they've done, their actions are pretty well known, so we'll see. This person, they are a rapper / producer, or producer / rapper, however you'd like to say it.
Pow, 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 pow.
It is not Walk a Flock of Flame, but I appreciate you trying. They were, however, born in Atlanta in June of '77, so there's that. Grew up in Chicago.
I was going to say I have 2 guesses based on Atlanta, and I don't think either of them is probably correct.
Probably not. So,
is it Bone Crusher?
It is not Bone Crusher.
It should be.
Why?
Have you not seen him stomp around Atlanta? He's outside of the club, and you think he's a punk.
Does he go get his loaded Tech 9 that's off in the trunk?
He does.
He told that mother he was never scared.
He ain't never scared. Anyway.
Anyway, so this person started out as a producer and then eventually became a rapper later on in their career. They released their first solo album in 2004. This person's dad was the first black photojournalist at the Atlanta Constitutional, and their mother was a professor of English at Clark Atlanta University, and then when they moved to Chicago, she was also she was like the head of the English department at one of the colleges in Chicago. Okay. I don't remember which one. It's produced for Foxy Brown, Nas, Dragon, Mace, Raekwon, Eminem, Ludacris, Alicia Keys, and Janet Jackson, all before, except for the last four, all of those he produced for before he signed to a major label and put out an album as a rapper.
Really?
Yeah, the Goody Mob song was actually he produced the last song that all four of the original members of Goody Mob were on. So, not that I would expect you to know that.
No, I don't even recognize the name.
Goody Mob?
No.
Okay,
sorry.
So Goody, real quick, just a quick sidebar because you need to know. Goody Mob, you probably wouldn't even. Goody Mob is a group that helped bring to light and Outkast. So they were it was like Andre Big Boy, CeeLo, or Gnarls Barkley, as you may know him. And there was, I don't remember the other guy's name, but there was like four of them that were pretty pivotal in making the Atlanta music scene grow. Regardless, so this person is actually often credited with revitalizing Jay-Z's career because he produced the Jay-Z's 2001 album, The Blueprint, which is often regarded as one of Jay-Z's best albums ever.
Okay.
Not my personal opinion, but it's probably up there. This is where it's going to get oddly specific. Actually, no, it's not. This person has won 21 Grammys and been nominated 68 times. That's wow. That's the second most for both of those as a rapper.
Can you tell me who was first?
Yes, I can. It was Jay-Z.
Really?
Yeah, Jay-Z's the only person with more Grammys and more nominations. He is the sixth most streamed artist on Spotify for the first 10 years Spotify was around, so 2008 to 18. There was only 5 artists streamed more than he was.
So it's somebody who's of significance that I will know the name. It's not somebody obscure.
Yeah, no, it's not anybody obscure at all.
And by artist, you mean after they started producing music, not just as a producer, their shit was streamed. You're saying?
Yeah, this is literally just their music. This isn't anything they produce included. This is just the music that they released as an artist.
It's not Ludacris, is it?
It is not Ludacris.
Okay.
I said they produced for Ludacris. Come on,
I mean, Ludacris produced for Ludacris. How the fuck?
He does. Yeah, no. Eminem produces for Eminem. So yeah, no. This person has the 7th highest digital single sales of all time. And he was sued by Evel Knievel because he played Evel Knievel in one of his music videos, and Evel Knievel felt that he over-sexualized Evel Knievel in the music video.
I feel like I should know this, and I don't.
His first album leaked like 3 months early because it was, 2003, so Napster and LimeWire and shit like that. In those because it leaked so early, he actually redid the entire album, removed a bunch of verses, replaced them, added up new, choirs and string sections, and basically changed the whole album. Ended up delaying the original release date by like 3 months because he wanted to change so many things after it leaked. Is
this person still with us?
Yes.
Okay.
In my personal opinion, his first album was his best album.
Is it Bubba Sparks?
It is not. Jesus Christ. But that's also a true statement, so there's that. Some of the antics that he's been involved in, other than the Evel Knievel thing, he had said at one point that Obama can't get things done because he doesn't have the connections that white people have, and he isn't Jewish. And the Anti-Defamation League came out and said that was a racist thing to say. And he apologized and also stated in his apology that he didn't know being called rich was an insult.
Goddamn.
Yeah.
Shut the goddamn dog up.
This will definitely give it away. He was filmed on national TV, standing next to Mike Myers, saying that Bush does not care about black people.
Oh man, this guy has had such amazing hits as "You're Such a Fucking Hoe," where he was privileged to be on the track, and "Piss on Your Grave." Correct.
Correct.
Ugh.
He's
married to America's first family, the modern day Kennedys, isn't
That
he?
is correct. They are the modern day Kennedys. So,
he's running for president, kinda.
in some states, yes. Even though that there was
He keeps
a pretty
getting
good
kicked
chance
off the ballots.
Yeah, because they didn't do it the right way, or there's fraud involved. Yeah.
The wildest thing to me that his lawyers did was when Mickey Mouse's name came up on the petition for him to be on the ballot, the lawyer's response was, "Prove he didn't sign it."
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. To which Burn Dog came out and said, "I did not sign that, even though my name's on it."
So you gonna tell everybody who this is? You taking a guess?
It is the Kanye West.
It is.
Yeah, I'm waiting for. I mean, aside from my total disdain for how he behaves currently, I mean, I obviously know he was Gold Digger was like a #1 hit and shit like that.
Absolutely, yeah.
He's got a fashion line. He's wildly successful. I mean,
wildly.
I'm not into it, especially like I said, when I hear "Piss on Your Grave" and "You're Such a Fucking Hoe" and shit like that. I don't get it, but that doesn't mean that my thumb is on the pulse of the nation either. I would enjoy hearing some of the things that put him into the category of trash instead of treasure. Aside from election fraud stuff.
In my personal opinion, I walk a thin line with Kanye. I think musically he's probably one of the most talented musicians that we have seen in this time. I don't, I think that, especially and I know we've talked about this before, but like, Eminem, his albums don't typically get the acclaim they deserve until years after. And I think for me, that's also been true with Kanye. Years later, I have more respect and I understand what he was saying more. I still don't think some of them are like, I think Life of Pablo is fucking terrible. But like I said, I think that his Late Registration or College Dropout, sorry, is his greatest album ever. My problem with Kanye is some of his antics. You've talked about the election fraud stuff. There's obviously the Make America Great Again hat wearing Kanye from a few months ago that everybody fucking forgot about because he does so much wild shit. What actually put him on my radar today is he posted a picture of himself pissing on one of his Grammys in the toilet onto Twitter.
I mean, at least in that scenario, it's his.
Yeah, well, so he wants out of his Universal contract. I think he's with Universal Sony or some shit is who all of his music and stuff is with. And there's a big push in the music industry for creators to own the masters to their music instead of the record labels owning the masters. And like Taylor Swift bought her masters back for like fucking $300 million. But there's, in the streaming world, you have to own your own shit. And I think this bridges over into podcasts, and it was kind of the reason I wanted to pick him because there's a similar fight going on in podcasting right now with The Ringer and a couple other big networks trying to form a union to get more money from like Spotify and shit for the podcasting industry. But Kanye does things differently. So he's trying to get those same things for the music industry, but he pisses on Grammys, and he just within the last hour posted screenshots of his entire contract with Universal, page by page. Obviously fucking breaking any non-disclosure agreement that was in that contract as well.
Jeez. I mean, that kind of stuff, I get the rebellion. That's very Tom Morello. That's very, Rage Against the Machine. I get that.
Yeah.
But he's obviously suffering from, by his own admission, some mental health related issues and stuff like that. And some of the wild shit that he does and says, and, calling himself Jesus, or what's it, Yeezy?
Yeah, Yeezy.
Or I'm the greatest mind since blah, 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 blah. Like, I still come back to if you're good at what you do, you tell people. If you're great at what you do, they tell you. You don't have to brag about yourself if you're the best, because everybody else knows it and there's no reason to brag about it.
Yeah. So he's, and he's got the fight that he's taking on, he's going to have to use those antics to get anybody to listen.
It's now I have your attention.
Well, because, and he posted, and this is probably the truest thing I've ever seen him post publicly. He said, Universal won't tell me what my masters cost because they know I can afford to buy them.
I mean, that makes sense. He's probably got to be one of the wealthiest people.
One of his other tweets, and I guess some other people confirmed it, like at Forbes or whatever. He's the second richest black man in America.
Behind Jay-Z?
Behind Jay-Z.
Who, if you are counting net worth of them and their spouse, Beyonce is not a slouch either when it comes to wealth.
And I think Beyonce may be worth more than Kim as well, but I don't know. I'm not that far into the scenario to care that much.
I get it,
but I don't, I think but going back to what we were talking about a little earlier with like the selling ads and with the Joe Budden thing and the Rogan shit, like there's, all of these things, they matter. They all, owning, being able to own your own shit and, keeping control of it is important in the grand scheme of things. And I don't think people realize that until, unfortunately, within 2020, probably, especially from the artist creator point. I think it took.
There's going to be an argument that it's a sense of entitlement because as the creator, as the artist, you're not the one taking any of the financial risk. The company that's paying for your recording time, paying for all your travel, paying for all your promotion, paying for this, paying for that, giving you money, they're in theory the ones taking a risk on you. They're not going to take a risk on you unless they see it as being a guaranteed win, because that's the way it works. But they have to have something to gain long-term for residual income from the scenario. So like, if you want to do it intellectual property wise, I think that's why people started moving to like SoundCloud and stuff. And correct me if I'm wrong, I may misunderstand what the SoundCloud concept is, but there's definitely artists that, they come up with the 10 grand or whatever it is, and they go to a recording studio and they work with somebody, and it's half-ass in comparison to having $1 million budget for a fucking studio. But
so one of the things that's changed, and I think that what your view of it is accurate for 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I think with the way things have changed, with the switch to digital being more permanent than people wanted it to be,
right,
with services like SoundCloud allowing an artist to put up their music for free to get it out there. You don't have to pay any money to put your, we pay $100 a year to our hosting provider for the podcast, but we stream fucking Spotify, Apple, we're everywhere.
We effectively put out the equivalent length of material of an album every week.
Absolutely. So but if, 5 years ago, we wouldn't have had these avenues to get to Apple and to get to Spotify. And we may have needed to go to, not in podcasting necessarily, because podcasting is always kind of, but 5 years ago, as an artist, you didn't have as much of an ability to circumvent the labels. You were forced to go to them. And you're right, there should be some stake for them, putting up the financial backing for you to tour and for you to have this and have that. But it's just not that way it is anymore. It's not, it's so easy for an artist to, there are artists that have blown up off of a fucking 30-second sound clip that went viral on TikTok with people making videos behind it.
Right. And I've seen that.
But there are people that have lasting careers off of that, or may have,
You're absolutely correct. But we have to remember when we talk about scenarios like this, you can't take a tiny, 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 tiny percentage of instances of success and try and make it sound as if that's the easiest path to success for everybody. We have to acknowledge, of all the people who are out there playing gigs at bars and singing here and singing there and doing festivals and doing it for free or doing it for dirt cheap or trying to get famous on the internet or any of that shit, the percentage of them that do make a fortune or do become famous are tiny. And we've had this conversation when it comes to economics as well. You know, all the people that are convinced, oh my God, I can be a billionaire if I just work really hard.
Yeah.
All they have to do is cut taxes for the people that make $100 million a year, and I'll be able to be a billionaire in 10 years. And it's fucking left-handed dolphin as much as left-handed dolphin gets.
Yeah.
But the easiest path to success in a lot of industries requires sacrifice. In general, in life, you have to sacrifice to gain success.
Right.
And in the music industry, if you want the reach, if you want maximum reach, the company that's going to take care of all the costs of maximum reach has to be compensated somehow. Now, I'm not saying that it's a fair compensation to pay them what they get paid. No. But I'm saying if you want to be able to reach 2 billion people with your music in an instant, your album comes out and in 2 weeks it's reached 2 billion people and it's on YouTube and they did a production for you on a music video and they handle all the studio time and, you know, there's $1 million invested in this.
Yeah.
That's going to work better, quicker for more people than, you know, Cotton Eye Joe at the bar.
Correct. So, but here's my counterpoint to that is that $1 million that you needed to invest even 2 years ago to get somebody to blow up, you don't have to invest anymore. No,
I'm not disagreeing with you, but the point I'm making is your likelihood of if it didn't cost anything different, okay, if there was no cost associated with it, and you could either have a manager, a talent agent, a production company, an advertising company, and all the other shit that people who sign contracts have, or you have TikTok, but there's no difference in cost. You have a lot more resources away from TikTok because they're still going to put you on TikTok than you do just on TikTok.
Yeah.
And the contract, and again, not justifying the value that they put on this, the contract has got to protect the people who are handling all this other shit for you.
I think the bigger argument in what if I were Kanye personally, what I would be aiming for isn't the contract I signed 2, 5, 10 years ago. It just isn't relevant today. And I think contracts need to be more flexible. And I think maybe that's what they're going for, where 10 years ago, when you give up all your masters, you know, to get what you needed to get then, you know, as it becomes more important for you to own your masters, there needs to be an easier path to buying them back and getting that equity back for the things that you created,
or at least some sort of
and it's literally, you know, it's kind of one of those things where, and we see it a lot with artists where, you know, the record labels and shit, they just hold the shit hostage.
Yeah, I guess I think about it in like the world of TV more than the world of music because I wasn't so entrenched in music.
See, and I'm the exact opposite. So like I don't.
Right, but the cast of Friends, and I only bring that show up because everybody knows the show Friends. Everybody's watched the show Friends. Apparently, everybody in the cast still makes millions of dollars a year from residual income. Absolutely. And that's something that they worked into their contract. They got paid upfront X number of dollars for every episode, and they get paid X amount for every episode that they're in that airs from here in perpetuity. And I don't know if music has that, or if music could have that, or it doesn't have that, or
so one of the hard things to compare the two, or to you know, so every person on Friends gets paid every time an episode of Friends gets streamed on Disney Plus, for example. So every time somebody watches an episode of Friends, everybody gets paid. And I'm sure that it's not pennies every time an episode of Friends streams that they get paid. I'm sure it's a larger amount. Unfortunately, in music, every time one of Kanye's songs gets streamed, it's literally percentage of a penny that is paid out. And then that gets split.
But is he making a fraction of a percentage of what somebody else is making, or is he still making an appropriate percentage of what somebody else is making?
Nobody in music is making an appropriate percentage of money in the streaming industry or in the streaming era. It's not where, and I think we talked about it a couple weeks ago at the most recently, where a physical CD sold for $15.99.
Right.
And they shipped 1 million of those CDs.
16 million bucks.
Yeah. So you're
Total
now
production
splitting
cost under 500,000.
And we talked about this with the Mike Jones things. You know, that $16 million to recoup that in, like, to literally make $16 million in the streaming era, you'd probably have to have like 50, 60, 70 million streams.
Which does happen.
Absolutely. But you've got to, like, let me see how many streams Kanye has on Spotify.
It's really hard to have this conversation and be somebody or feel that I am somebody who is unlikely to ever be in the shoes of someone who's worth $500 million complaining that they're not worth $1 billion.
So one of the podcasts I listened to where they talked about this today, they all admitted that it's a very privileged position for him to be in. And he should as well.
We're literally talking about less than 100 people.
Correct.
That are in this scenario.
So, but the other thing to keep in mind, and he says it to be true, and I would like to take that at face value for the purposes of this conversation, but Kanye's not necessarily fighting for just his masters and his money. He's trying to change the industry as a whole to affect everybody that's in it currently and coming into it, so they don't have to make the same mistakes he did or endure the same things that he endured. So it's not as selfish as it may seem on the surface, but it's Kanye too, so it's hard to. Yeah,
but again, we're talking about Kanye claiming he's trying to affect change in an industry that makes people wealthy beyond normal human beings ever want and wish, claiming that they should be more wealthy.
So that's where you're missing it. Because that's not what they're
don't
claiming.
Get me wrong. I think that the other people in the industry that are becoming filthy fucking rich, literally oiling the machine.
So there's that, but there's also one of the things, one of the things I think you miss in this is that it's not. You can't. The value of the content needs to be dictated by the creator and the consumers. In the current scenario, the value of the content is dictated by the suits in the office.
Right.
The record labels.
If you want a front-end loaded contract where you're given money, you have to have some sort of assessed value. If you're willing to say, I'm going to go put in the work for free, I'm going to go work 20-hour days, I'm going to work shows, and you can pay me in the rears, then I mean, I guess that's an option, but you have to.
So, but here's the thing. So, it's not a upfront versus paying in the rears sort of thing. Like it's the record labels they will devalue or overvalue your content to keep you away from it in the financial perspective. Oh, it's not worth as much as you think it is. You're probably better off letting us hold it. Or it's worth more than you can afford, pal.
That just means you need to bring a person smarter than that guy to the table or girl to the table for your bargaining.
Which artists don't have.
But they're millionaires. Why don't they have?
Because they didn't have it when they weren't millionaires. When they became millionaires.
I don't know, man. I get
basically but I think what you're getting at is that they should have known what they were getting into when they got into it. Fuck them.
Well, no, because I understand there's a large number of artists, especially in the hip hop community, that come from literally poverty, like slinging dope or stealing on the corner to try and make ends meet to eat that night. I get it. So when somebody offers you $1 million and you're worth $100 million, you're like, fuck, $1 million is worth it to me. Just like the conversation we had about Rogan and his contract or Mahomes and his contract.
Yeah.
But I don't know of this, and I can't say that it is or isn't true. Has anybody walked in and been like, all right, you're on contract with us for the rest of your life, and this is what you're going to make, and that's it, and nothing more ever, and that's all you get? You know what I mean? It's like, we'll give you $10 million. You have to do 50 fucking albums, and you're never allowed to record with anybody else or cameo on another record without giving it to us. I'm sure something like that probably does exist.
There are probably hundreds of thousands of those. I would definitely say tens of thousands. There's probably hundreds of thousands of those contracts.
But do you think those people
Worldwide.
ever end up being these half-billionaires?
No, I think that's a very rare occurrence. I think
Right.
it's very rare for people to have the money that they but Kanye didn't make that money in music.
If Kanye didn't make it in music, what did Kanye make it in clothing line?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, his deal with Adidas is the only reason he's got the money to even have this position.
Got it.
So
I mean, and to be clear, we're talking about $500 million versus $30 or $40 million.
Yeah, but
Okay.
again, it's bigger than just in my personal opinion, and I hope this continues to be true. I think it's bigger than Kanye. I don't think it's, while it's about his music specifically, I think it's about a change to the whole industry.
It's just really, and I said this earlier, it's really hard to hear the complaints of someone worth more than you or I will ever earn in our entire lives, complaining that they don't get paid more. Whether it's a CEO or it's anybody, generally speaking. If someone's making $1 million+ a year,
so, and I try to look at it like this for me. So if Sony came to us tomorrow and offered us $1 million to keep doing the podcast,
right?
I'm confident enough that if it were a contract where it's like they own it, it's their deal, blah 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 blah, like if it were a very Sony favorable contract,
right,
I would walk away from it.
Well, and we're in a position where we're not in need of the money. This is something we do for shits and giggles. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd be happy with $500,000, but
that's debatable.
But I'm just saying, we'd also have to look at other stipulations. Okay, well, they're going to provide us a studio, they're going to provide us transport, they're going to give us an editor, they're going to give us the equipment, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. How long is the contract? What are the stipulations on the contract?
There's lots of
renegotiation timeline.
But knowing everything that I know now, and that I've been privileged to be able to have the time to learn because I haven't had to spend, a bunch of money to make this possible, and that we haven't had to lay out, tens of thousands of dollars. Like I can approach it differently, and I don't think at the time that everybody has that, that ability, and so I mean it's contracts. It's not, we can go back and forth
again,
all
when you're
day.
starving and it's a leg up and shit like that, and I get it. I honestly and truly do, and there's a picture of oh shit, I can't remember who, Jake Gyllenhaal on a subway train, like 3 years apart, and they talk about his net worth, and he's like worth $10 million in one picture and worth $30 million in another picture, and they're like and he's still riding the subway and he's just in normal clothes, and it's like the big difference between being poor and being rich is if you live rich or you live poor.
Yeah.
And that kind of makes sense that the people, and we've known people that are like, came into money and didn't earn it and they throw it around, and then people who have worked and busted their ass and earned money, and it's not like they got to show out all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's a certain amount of that. If you come from poverty and all of a sudden you come walking into $10 million, you're probably not going to have $10 million in 10 years. You're probably not.
No, not at all.
But if it took you 40 years to amass $10 million, you're probably still going to have $10 million after that next 10 years. And it's really hard for me, and you can call it jealousy, you can call it whatever you want, to think of becoming a millionaire at any age, effectively, quote unquote, overnight, whether it's through TikTok or someone picks up your contract or whatever it is, and then going, oh, well, fuck, they paid me $10 million for the next 10 years, but had I had all this exposure by myself and not had any of the advantage, or had all the advantages they gave me without having to give up something, I could have been worth $50 million or $100 million. It's like, dude, you're still worth fucking $10 million.
Absolutely.
So it's really, it's tough for me to wrap my brain around that concept.
I can tell.
And to feel emotional pain for people that are millionaires.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. I don't feel bad for him. I've tried to say I think that there's a bigger problem that needs resolving, and Kanye putting his voice behind it and his money and his legal team on, out there to try to help solve the problem, I think is the bigger thing that needs to happen.
Well, and I can get behind people of influence and people of money trying to support the betterment of anything. So, I mean, from that perspective, I can say I agree with Kanye if that's what he's in fact doing.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's Kanye, so we don't know.
It'll also flip-flop every fucking 3 weeks.
Probably, yeah.
And then he'll piss on your grave.
Probably. I hope so.
You hoe.
That would be the highlight of my life, I think, if he pissed on
your grave.
Yeah, no, I'm just
But
kidding.
then you'd be dead. It's not your life, you're dead.
That's true. That's a valid point. Also, that was probably the most ridiculous thing I've said in a while.
Yeah, that your highlight of your life would involve Kanye.
Yeah, that's... all right.
In next week's Trash or Treasure, we cover Mike himself.
Yeah. I'm definitely trash. So before we get out of here, I would struggle to say trash or treasure. I'm going to lean towards trash because he's just done some shit I just don't like. I definitely think the President Bush doesn't care about black people thing was funny as shit. But I do know
although it wasn't meant to be funny. It wasn't a comedic action. No.
I think the whole interaction, like Mike Myers' reaction to the whole scenario,
his panic,
was the funniest shit in the world. The sentiment that President Bush does not care about black people was true and remains to be true, I'm sure, to this day. But that's neither here nor there. We can get into that. You can get into that some other time. You ready to get the fuck out of here?
I didn't express what my
God
true.
Damn it!
So you said you're gonna go leaning towards trash.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to lean trash, but it's gonna be it's a tightrope.
So. I'm gonna tell you that unless that man runs into a building to save kittens or puppies or orphans, and then comes out and doesn't say, "Look at me, I'm Kanye. Look what I did. I'm so great. I did this. I'm the greatest firefighter ever," which would make him a great president in the current administration. Unless he does some shit like that, he's trash. He's not going to convince me he's not trash. He's married to trash.
That's true.
That whole family's trash.
Yeah, fuck, man. Talk about ruining some lives. That's all they do.
Trash through osmosis.
Fuck. All right. Fucking. We went way over this week. I like it.
That's all right. I'm sure at least one person will say, "Man, I enjoyed it. You guys sounded like you was flowing all right."
Nobody listens past like the 30-minute mark, I don't think.
I know at least two.
That's why I give
do.
my best stuff at the beginning.
It's just like sex.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, buddy, let's get the fuck out of here. We'll catch you guys next week. Don't do anything crazy. We love you.
Bye.
Stop it.
See ya.
See ya.
Hey, kids, you've reached the end of the podcast. That's it. There's nothing more here. Just dead air and this closing statement. We appreciate your diligence, though. Now go back about your day and come back for the next show. Or listen again. In fact, that sounds like a better plan. Grab another show. That's what I'm doing right now. Whoever listens the most wins. You don't really win anything, really. Just the memories of better times, which is winning in my book. All right, well, this is the actual end. Hand banana.